Fukushima nuclear waste water. Stop the pen. Stop the pen. What do we want? More nukes.
So this is August 9th. This is the day of the bombing of Nagasaki. 78 years ago, August 9th, 11:02 a.m., the A-bomb was dropped over the sky of Nagasaki. I was born in Sasebo, Nagasaki, which is 40 miles away from Nagasaki City. At the time, my mother was on the island of Goto, and a boatload of people who were severely burned were transported to Goto to seek treatment. So I have a little bit of personal history around this day. So before we go on, I would like to do a quick land acknowledgement. So I acknowledge this is a stolen land. This land belongs to the indigenous people of this land, Tongva and Chumash. And so I acknowledge that. And also, the indigenous people of this land have been severely hurt by the nuclear legacy. Navajo people were hurt by nuclear uranium mining. There are still 500 uranium mines who are abandoned on their land. 600 nuclear testing were done on the Shoshone people's land. And also 67 nuclear testings were done in the Marshall Islands. So we need to talk about that this day as well.
1945년에 미국이 히로시마와 나가사키에 그 원자폭탄을 투하했을 때 일본인들도 피해를 입었지만 조선인 희생자가 그 희생자들 숫자 중에서 10%가 넘고 지금도 2세, 3세들이 아직도 그 방사능 후유증으로 고통을 받고 있다고 합니다. 근데 미국과 일본한테 저희는 사과도 받은 적이 없고 배상도 받은 적이 없어요. 그래서 오늘 왜 히로시마 나가사키 78주년 기념일에 왜 우리가 여기 왔나 그렇게 의아하신 분도 계시겠지만 저희도 피해자입니다. 그리고 저희도 보상받아야 되고 저희도 사과를 받아야 되고 또 하나는 일본이 어쨌든 그 2차 대전을 일으켰고 또 미국이 그 전쟁을 끝나기 위해서 원폭을 투하했다고 하지만 전 세계에서 그 원자폭탄을 쓴 나라는 그 핵폭탄을 쓴 나라는 미국밖에 없고요 현재까지. 그리고 저희가 지금 후쿠시마에서 그 핵폐수를 방류한다고 하는데 그렇게 희생자를 몇십만 명이나 냈는데 지금 바다에다가 이거를 방류한다는 거는 또 한 번 범죄를 짓는 거기 때문에 저희는 일본과 미국을 향해서 외쳐야지 되고 또 하나는 대한민국이 가장 근접 국가로서 피해를 많이 보고 있는데 그 대한민국 대통령과 정부는 지금 이거를 동조하고 있거든요. 그래서 저희는 계속 시위를 해야 되고 외쳐야지 된다고 생각합니다. 그래서 저희가 모였습니다. 감사합니다.
In Nagasaki and Hiroshima combined, more than 200,000 people were killed by the A-bomb in a matter of 4 months. I acknowledge 10% of these people were Koreans who were brought from the Korean peninsula to be forced laborers in Japan. It's a part of history that we need to talk about that's not often talked about. So I would love to invite you to join me in a moment of silence for the victims of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So thank you. Let's have a moment of silence.
저희가 이제 집회를 시작하면서 희생자들에 대한 묵념을 하면서 추모를 하면서 시작하겠습니다. 묵념 시작.
Thank you. So I will invite a few speakers, but before I do that, I would like to say a few words myself. Not gonna be long, but so there are several demands that I individually and also as a group, Pacific Asian Nuclear Free Peace Alliance, is making today. So first demands to the U.S. government. We demand the U.S. government issue an official word of apology for the atrocity that's committed 78 years ago. And also, we demand the U.S. government to sign and ratify the treaty of prohibition of nuclear weapons, that's not done still. So we demand that. And also, we have demands for Japanese government. Again, I will emphasize this point. I was born and raised in Japan. I'm Japanese. And I would like to respectfully demand Japanese government also sign and ratify the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. For Japan not to have done so is really such disrespect to the victims of the A-bombs. And also, I demand the Japanese government also acknowledge the atrocities that the Imperial Japan committed during the war to people of many nations in Asia. And lastly, this is really important part. Today we are here. A lot of people here have signs against the dumping of radioactive wastewater from Fukushima nuclear power plant. This is a really important issue. I demand TEPCO, Tokyo Electric Power Company, and the government of Japan abandon its plan of dumping radioactive wastewater from Fukushima and seek another solution that's already proposed by scientists. What was done to people of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was not only a war crime by the United States government, but it was actually a state violence by the government of Japan. And what's happening here right now, dumping of radioactive wastewater from Fukushima, is also state violence committed against its people, and also nuclear colonialism that's being committed against people of the world. So I strongly demand the Japanese government and TEPCO abandon its plan of dumping radioactive nuclear wastewater and do the right thing. And also, lastly, I don't want this day to be the last day of this year for us to talk about nuclear matters. I think we should be talking about it every day, and we should be demanding what's right for the people and for our planet. And thank you so much for being here, because I acknowledge you guys to be partners and accomplices in demanding peace and no nukes for the world. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Really much respect for all of the Korean brothers and sisters who've been showing up on a regular basis out here for this important fight. I work with, some of you have seen the flyers I handed out at previous events. I work for a group called Asian and Pacific Islanders for CalCare. And we all know, obviously, nuclear wastewater is a healthcare issue affecting not just the people in Fukushima, but also nearby Korea, Japan, and the whole Asia-Pacific region, right? But also, after the meltdown started in March of 2011, there were studies that showed that the radioactive waste, both in the air and in the water, was traveling and reaching all the way as far as the coast of California, right here where we stand. So, we know that the statistics have showed the increase in the children's thyroid cancer in Fukushima. Tsukuru and I have a dear friend that we worked with on this issue that died of cancer from Fukushima, leaving behind in the world a young boy who had to go back to Japan. She was working with us here against the nukes, and so it's a very important issue for us. I think the thing that we need to do with this effort that we're involved with here is we need to start helping people connect the dots between different fights going on. So could it be for world peace? Yes. Could it be for people's health interests? Could it be for the fishing industry in Japan, right? Could it be for things like sea salt that's taken out of the ocean that might have radioactive particles in it? We need to do more education to different groups about these issues, such as to counter the lies that if you go on the internet, page after page after page of website links are all typical Japanese propaganda, right? They're trying to tell us that the water has been filtered and it's safe to drink, and yet there's scientific research that has found other radioactive elements in the filtered water, such as tritium and carbon-14, some elements that have shelf life of over 1,000 years, right? And so we need to do more education so that other groups that are involved, like Sukuni was mentioning, the indigenous people are trying to fight the mining companies that are destroying their sacred lands for the sake of, extracting minerals for profit. We need to reach out to those people and bring them out here, and vice versa, reciprocate with our support. I'm involved in a healthcare reform effort here in California. There are millions of people in the United States that do not have health insurance. We're the richest country in the world. California alone is, I believe, the fourth largest economy in the world, but there are tens of thousands of people that don't even get health care. So if the radiation keeps coming over here, and over time we see the cancer rates going up, that might possibly be due to radioactive waste from Fukushima. A lot of people don't even get access to health care. So we are involved in a fight right now to try to establish healthcare reform in California. We call it CalCare, or Medicare for All, to try to get mitigation of the problem caused by radiation or the toxic dumping in our ecology. So once again, thank you for being out here, and let's continue building this movement to put an end to nukes and stop war and stop this horrible dumping of nuclear wastewater. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to invite Mark Masaoka. Where are you? I don't see you. Oh yeah, I see you. Okay. Representing Nikkei Progressives. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting us on this anniversary of the nuclear bombing at Nagasaki, which followed by several days the bombing of Hiroshima. Nikkei Progressives is an all-volunteer, multi-generational group here in Little Tokyo, and we recognize that this is the latest of Japan's irresponsibility in acknowledging the suffering and harm that they've done. During World War II, it was their aggression in Asia, which gave the U.S. government a pretext for the incarceration of 120,000 Japanese Americans in concentration camps. And then also during that time, there was the enslavement of thousands of women from Asia as comfort women. Japan has still refused to acknowledge responsibility for that. And the ones who were responsible for the aggression in Asia, they were rehabilitated after the war, as the United States wanted Japan to reconstruct its empire to fight off communism. And so people like Morinotsu Kajima, who was a war criminal, was the one who was the developer of the new Otani Hotel, now the Doubletree Hotel. So the influence of theirs has continued. In particular, we are alarmed and angry and condemn the release of nuclear wastewater from the Fukushima plant. We understand that this is completely against the opposition of all of its neighboring countries who share the same waters around Japan. So we wish continued resistance to the militarization of the area, in particular Hanako Bay in Okinawa, where the United States has continued to move forward the expansion of military bases there. So thank you for coming, and we appreciate joining you here.
Started. Find out about our organization at kopu.org. We stand in solidarity today, especially with our neighbors, for the unnecessary bombing of Nagasaki. They did not have to bomb Japan. Japan had already surrendered. And not only that, to back the folks right here fighting against putting radioactive waters into our ocean, and to be in solidarity. So we hope today, especially of all days, that people unite to understand that radioactivity and nukes hurt us all. And on a more local level, if you're not aware of Diablo Canyon, a mere 78 miles from here, they were supposed to mothball it and shut it down. But guess what, folks? Governor Newsom has decided not to. So I hope you will look into this issue and speak to your congressmen and senators and local representatives to tell them to shut down El Diablo. So thank you. In solidarity.
Thank you so much. So,
Now we have Mr. Young Choi from Vancouver, right? From Canada. So he's visiting us, so he'll give us a short speech. I'll just say hi.
안녕하세요. Hi, my name is Yang Il, and I am a member of Korean Federation of Environmental Movements, and I'm visiting LA from Canada. And it's great to see all of you united, fighting this madness by Japan to release nuclear wastewater into the Pacific Ocean. I just cannot believe Japan is getting away with this. So we have to double up our efforts every day, every one of you, everywhere, putting our minds together and putting our voices together to stop this madness. This will go down as one of the most horrible precedents of ecological terrorism, and we have to stop it. And we have to let everyone know. Educate your neighbors, politicians, and your church congregation members. Tell everybody. So power to all of you. And when we put our minds and power together, we will spread the truth and win. All right, power to all.
Welcoming long-time colleagues, someone from Code Pink and someone from Nisei, because I was involved in Japan wartime issues. Japan, as a war crime country, they did not acknowledge or apologize what they have done. But I'm here today to make sure that all issues, wartime issues, war crime issues, and the comfort woman, the sexual military slavery, and forced labor, all those issues are interconnected. So it doesn't matter whether you are Korean, whether you are Japanese, whether you are American, whether you are Vietnamese, it does not matter. This fight is to keep our planet, to save Mother Planet. There are numerous nations and ethnic groups, but there is only one green star, which is Mother Earth. So this is fight to keep our Mother Earth safe and clean. So those who passing by here, let's join our effort. And this is fight for justice and our life. Let's join together, let's work together, let's walk together for our bright future. Thank you.
Remember the Fukushima earthquake, the big tsunami?